been like, sure, Assassin's Creed Origins, it has a skill tree and a...
Yeah, it's close, yeah.
Let me try and figure out how I can make Animal Crossing into an RPG.
There you go. It has
Oh,
crafting.
I thought that would be a shoo-in for you guys. Doesn't count?
No.
Oh, I'm definitely not playing Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is not for me, especially this new one.
I feel like Mina, I feel like you should go ahead and talk about Animal Crossing. Is my
Should
opinion.
I mean, I can. It's the thing I played the most. I can talk about it. It's not really RPG.
Yeah.
It's casual. Though.
Yeah.
For some reason, I picture Animal Crossing. I don't know why. I just associate it with anime and JRPGs. Like
it's so far from being an RPG.
Yeah, there's no like character stats or improvement, or it's just all about your little island.
Like the thing is this is why I was trying to argue with like someone who has said like basically Rune Factory and Animal Crossing are the same thing, and I'm like they're so different. And
you
like,
fool!
I'm like I could sit here all day and list like 100 reasons why these two games are not the same.
Right.
You know, I could find way more similarities between even Fire Emblem and Persona than Animal Crossing and Rune Factory.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still kind of the author of your own narrative in Animal Crossing, right?
It's not even that though. It's basically like
there really isn't a story.
I would say it's like The Sims in a way. Like it's closer to being The Sims than anything else.
Oh.
But even more restrictive than Sims because like Sims, like, you know, time is passing and you're doing stuff and you're moving on to the next day. In Animal Crossing, it's a real life day taking place very slowly.
Yeah, I think Stardew Valley is much more of an RPG than Animal Crossing.
It is because it's actually got stats and stuff.
Yeah, and you have a story and you have relationships and
you can
combat.
You can fight combat. It's got way more in RPG, whereas like Animal Crossing's just like even more bare bones than Sims.
Yeah, you relax and fish.
Fish, catch some bugs.
Yeah.
Walk around.
Hit some rocks.
They even removed so there used to be like quests in Animal Crossing and they really like peeled that away too. There weren't any quests anymore. Like they exist, but I have only seen 2 in the course of how long has Animal Crossing been out?
A couple weeks here. But so there's no like quest log or anything like that.
Right. Well, when you like talk to a villager, sometimes they're like, "Hey, can you catch me a blank?" Or can you catch catch? And I have only seen that twice. Wow, whereas that used to be like you get like 20 of those requests a day. So now it's like 2, and I've been playing it a lot, not like a little. This is a lot. It's like 2.
Interesting.
So, yeah, they've. I mean, it's in lieu of that, they've added other things, but it's not an RPG, I can't figure out how to like that. It's more of a sim.
Yeah, like a life sim.
Life sim's closest.
Yeah.
So that's very different.
Yeah.
I just like an hour ago, like. I actually caught myself. I'm like, well, I only have 2 games, but they're going to have Animal Crossing. And I thought, oh, crap, that's the only game people are going to want to hear about that I have not played.
Right.
No.
But I did not realize that we didn't have an argument to make it fall under our umbrella. So.
I couldn't possibly. Like, I can't. It's so not that. It's just so... It'd be like me talking about... Well, even The Sims is more of an RPG the more I think about it. You actually
stats and stuff, yeah.
You actually do go up in skills in that game.
I'm going to mod an XP bar into The Sims.
There is a bit of an XP bar, though.
That's true, yeah.
So like, that's closer to being an RPG, actually. I could make The Sims almost make an argument that it's an RPG.
I mean, I haven't played The Sims in 20 years. They used to have... they all had experience bars for certain tasks that they're trying to excel at.
And work. Like
I think 4
to
still
go
has that.
The next job.
Yeah.
I guess I've just often thought like I could probably make up an argument for most games to appear on our podcast if I really wanted to. try to be a little bit more respectful. I'm like, well, they've let me talk about Deus Ex on here. I won't push too far out from there.
I really couldn't make Animal Crossing work. Like, the more I think about it, it's just, there's nothing to it. It's nothing like, because your main character doesn't even have a story, really. So they're just a vessel for you to, like, reside in and move around.
Like a true avatar.
It's just an avatar. Yeah. So, like, I can make way more stories about Sims 4 the more I think about it. I can make that work. Oh, man. If you ever wanted me to somehow bring up Sims 4, I think I could make a good argument.
Oh, man.
But,
well, I'm trying to think, like, is there a game I turned on and turned off that I should add to my list?
Right. I've got some stuff I can talk about.
I've got some things. It's just, like, I don't have, I guess, anything big to talk about is the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, I think that's this month. Final Fantasy VII, and for me, like, Sakura Wars is coming out at the end of the month. So
nice.
Yeah. I guess maybe I'll add one on here that I'm always playing that I normally don't talk about.
Did any of us pick up Persona 5 Royal?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to, and then I saw that, like, I wasn't going to be able to receive it anytime soon, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna. I've got so many other things I really want to play. I bet if I wait long enough, it'll hit, like, a nice price, and I'll just take it.
Yeah.
Then.
It's like, I like most of the stuff I'm playing now, but the reality is I'm just biding my time for that Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Like,
I just can't focus on anything.
Like, months ago, I requested the week off for the Final Fantasy remake. I was also thinking, like, I'll go visit my friend in Kansas City and do some other stuff. And then the coronavirus hit, and I'm like, well, I still have a vacation there. I won't have to struggle with coming up for work for my job.
Right.
Maybe I should just go ahead and continue taking the vacation, even though it seems really kind of lame to take a literal staycation.
But you don't have to worry about work. Like, it's the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
You can't go outside. You don't have to work. It's the best thing. Blow through Final Fantasy VII.
It's driving me crazy, but your hair looks so nice today, Sim. And I'm so jealous because I really need to go get my hair fixed. I have to go somewhere, and it's driving me like every time I look at myself, I'm like, God, my hair is such a mess. And I look at yours, and I'm like, looks really nice. Did your wife do it, or did you do it, or?
No, it just hasn't been cut for. Gosh, guy conversations on this are the worst. I haven't cut it since January.
Are you kidding? It looks so nice.
I only wash it 2 or 3 times a week, and lately it's been less than that. Like, normally I'm a very, like, pre-coronavirus, there were days where I would sometimes shower in the morning and the evening. Right. Like, I was a very cleanly person, and now that I'm stuck here all the time, I will.
All bets are off.
It is gone down the drain. It's like, I think I washed my hair today for the first time since, like, Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
Right.
And I think I've had 2 or 3 showers since then. But I've heard if you wash it less, it gets nicer. So I don't. Yeah. I'm not actually going with that logic. This is just staying at home results.
Gotcha. Yeah. I can't fix my hair. I have to get it. Like, I have to get the straight perm done to it. So right now it's just like, it's a tangled, ratty mess. And I'm just like, I need this so badly, because I'm so embarrassed to be seen by anybody at the moment. But you look really nice today.
I woke up and I thought, I have to put on adult clothes.
Right.
Because I'm doing a podcast.
I have to be presentable. Oh, man. All right, well, is everyone ready to get started?
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, I wasn't. Yum, yum, yum. All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Musum.
Hello.
And Mina.
Hi.
Let's just dive right into it with Musum. What have you been playing this past month?
Hey, so you remember, it was maybe a year ago, they announced Persona 5 Royale, and I was really angry that it wasn't going to be DLC.
Yeah, you couldn't, like, load up your save file.
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
load up the save files. Like, they're going to come out with another collector's edition that they're going to ask us to pay for. That's just going to cost just as much as the original game.
Uh-huh.
And I threw a big fit.
Yeah.
So I bought 2 copies of that collector's edition.
Oh, did you?
Because I have to keep one sealed and sell
Right.
it for way too much here in 5 years.
Right. It's an investment plan.
Yes, we'll call it that.
Right.
Forget that I still have my other sealed copy of the original Persona 5 that I have not sold yet.
They're curing right now. Like they haven't hit, peak price yet.
Have to wait for the codes that come with them to stop working before I sell it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good for its value. Yeah, so I picked that up. Just kind of like some things that came with the game that have nothing to do with actually playing the game. Mine came with a dynamic wallpaper for my PlayStation 4, right?
Okay.
The theme. And it's like as a wallpaper, it's not great, but it plays Persona 5, like some of the new music from the game,
Yeah.
just when you're on the dashboard, which I know is going to get old after a month, but right now is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because like I'll be in like the TV menu where the theme is not active, so the music's not playing, and then I'll click, oh, let's watch something on Amazon Video, and then briefly the music will come on while Amazon Video's loading. Did I click on the wrong thing? Oh, right, no,
Right.
my wallpaper's awesome. But I also want to say it's ironic that it is a very difficult wallpaper to discern. Like it's too busy. Like,
Oh, right.
and I find that ironic since I think the Persona designers are make some of the best looking UIs
Mm-hmm.
like ever, and they can't turn out a really like cool, good level.
Right, like a really clean theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to have 50 things on it that make it really hard for me to discern the icons? Or can't you make the icons like these cool pop-out things like you do the menus in game? Anyway,
Right.
enough of wasting everyone's time about that. I'm not super far into Persona 5 yet. I'm reading all the dialogue. I know I should probably just be hitting the skip button. I'm really just skipping some of the tutorials that I already know.
Mm.
But they changed a lot more of this game than I thought they would.
Yeah, I'm finding that out as I'm reading some reviews where there are significantly fundamental changes to Persona 5 Royal that I kind of wasn't expecting.
Yeah. So like one of them is when you're in the dungeon, you have your, I can't remember what the social network button used to do in the dungeon. But basically they've reassigned it so that you press, I think it's the square button, and it pops up a menu, and that menu has a list of your quick actions where you can heal the whole party, which they originally
Nice.
had, but that was just a button you pressed. They have a thief tool button in there. There's like 4 or 5 things, and that's like, they have stuff like that through the whole game. So like right now in the menu, like after school, like you press it to see if you press the social button to see what everyone else did on that day, instead it brings up a menu where you can select network and it'll give you that information. You can select confidant and it just gives you a text list of the confidants that are available that day. And if you click on one,
Nice.
it'll give you the option to immediately go to them.
Great.
Oh, okay. That's really nice.
It's a lot of like little quality of life things.
Well, like Morgana doesn't bother you to go to bed anymore. Like there's stuff. I know.
So
It's
I
like,
have not.
It's like one of the biggest. Like there's, I think 2 of the biggest changes are, one, Morgana lets you do stuff at night. So you can build up skills and you can go visit some people at night. Without having to do, what was the one social link? The teacher one. And the other one is the grappling hook in dungeons. I don't know if you've unlocked that yet, Musin.
I have not unlocked it.
Okay.
They kind of, so in that first tutorial you do at the beginning of the game where you're in the casino,
Mm-hmm.
they have a moment where you're running through that hallway where you can look through the mirror and see guys running through a different hallway.
Mm-hmm.
They basically crammed a thing in where you grapple hook something in the ceiling and it takes you to a new room.
Yeah.
And you go through that tutorial and then go back down and then you go through the rest of the normal tutorial.
Yeah,
how
I understand it works is basically you pick a point in the dungeon at like a ledge or something in your vicinity in the dungeon, and the grappling hook just brings you there. So like in Kamoshida's dungeon, if you don't want to go through like that one chapel area, you can just kind of hop down and grappling hook all the way across to the other side, just get up on the ledge and leave. So that's a pretty significant
That is literally
change.
where I just got to in the game,
Okay.
and I don't have the grappling hook. So,
interesting. Okay.
Another note is, like, I've read that Morgana doesn't bug you to go to bed either. That has not been my experience so far.
Yeah.
Granted,
he's been telling you to go to bed.
yes.
Well, it's still the tutorial. I feel like the tutorial in Persona 5 doesn't end until after Kamoshida's dungeon. Like, that's a whole... I feel like the first couple hours are all tutorial.
I do like that the... so this was something I was a little bit worried about, because I was starting to explore the... they finally turned me loose enough to where I could decide when I want to go to the dungeon or not. And I hadn't gotten access to the Velvet Room yet. And I'm like, what is happening?
Right,
and then I go there. Yeah. And it turns out I just need to go to the dungeon, and they gave me access to it. But they immediately give me access to the book.
Okay.
They didn't even announce it was just a thing. It forced me to do... Excuse me. It forced me to do a fusion, which I was unhappy about, because like I hadn't spent any time recruiting things, so I immediately lost 2 of my 3 personas.
Oh, right.
And then I'm like, well, maybe they already gave me the book. Oh, they did. I don't have to wait till X point in the game for that to happen. And
That's cool.
I don't remember Persona 5 well enough mechanically, I think, to know whether that original game did that or not. But Persona 3 and 4 definitely withheld the book.
Yeah, for a while, yeah. Well, and there's I know they made some changes to Mementos. There's a new vendor in there, because you gather some new materials in there, and I've heard they changed the song in Mementos, which is really good. Because that song, I got real sick of that song.
Honestly, half of the music I've heard in the game so far is new. Like,
that's great.
The battle music through Kamoshida's dungeon is not the old battle music.
Oh, okay.
There's so many like little weird tweaks and interjections. Like they redid all the test questions that you could receive at school each day.
Gotcha.
I'm going blank. The guns now, ammo replenishes after a battle.
Oh, cool.
So there's no reason not to just constantly use them.
Right. There is a new ending. I'm not sure if you heard that.
I know there's a 3rd semester, so I don't like what constitutes a new ending.
There's like a new, like proper ending at the very, very end of the game. I would look. I don't want to spoil it here, but I looked it up what the requirements are, and it's basically you have to get this person's confidant rank to this rank before this date. So I'd recommend looking it up, because it seems really easy to do, and if you sort of prioritize it.
Well, and that I'll look into that. If it's I hadn't decided who I was going to romance, and I may just romance the new character.
Right.
Whose name I didn't write down. Like she's, like I've read online that you don't actually get her in your party until the 3rd semester.
Right.
But she has shown up several times already. Like you run into her not too long after the initial casino thing. No, you actually run in. Well, yeah, I guess I'll stop there. But you run into her a few times at the point I'm at. Like I don't want to ruin anyone's experience.
If I remember correctly, you don't get the 3rd semester if you don't level her confidant rank to a certain rank before that story stuff happens. So it seems like it's in the player's best interest to kind of focus on that in general. Because from one of the reviews I was reading, I think it was on RPG Gamer, they say like, hey, if you don't, it's not max rank, but if you don't get this confidant, I keep trying to call them social links. If you don't get this social link to a certain rank before a certain date, it just kind of fast forward through that semester like vanilla Persona 5, which I thought was sort of interesting.
So I did read up what, like, mechanically what it takes to romance her, in that you have to get her to rank 5 by that date, but you also have to get the school counselor to a certain rank as well.
Oh yeah, because there's a new teacher. That's right. Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else they, like, for the most part, like, it's still Persona 5. Like, they've made a lot of quality of life changes, like that Japanese J-pop take on, like, American 70s fusion and funk and whatnot is still freaking awesome, and some of my favorite stylings of the soundtrack.
I don't remember who asked me, but they asked me if Persona 5 Royal is like Persona 3 FES and Persona 4 Golden, and the answer is yes. Like, it's still the same game, it's just that they've added a little bit of stuff and kind of smoothed any rough edges from the original and kind of made a bunch of quality of life improvements, but it seems like it's Persona 4 Golden wasn't hugely different from the original Persona 4, not like Persona 3 FES was. Mina in chat says, talking about this made me buy it just now. Hey!
I didn't want to interrupt.
We've sold it. But yeah, if you liked Persona 5, I think the shorthand is, if you like Persona 5 and you want to play it again, this is probably the one you want to play. And if you haven't played Persona 5 before and you were waiting to play it, then play Royal instead.
Yeah. And gosh. Okay, I have one more small mechanical thing I'll mention on it, and then I'll move on. In the original game, you didn't get the baton pass until you leveled up your social confident level.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So now, like, as when you start freely being allowed to go to Kamoshida's dungeon, like, the first time you go, they send you through a bunch of tutorial stuff, and that is one of them. They say, hey, guess what? You get baton pass. Whenever you pass it to someone, they get increased health and SP regeneration.
Nice.
And that magnifies every time you pass it. And then if you manage to get it to all 4 party members, that 4th party member can make an action that doesn't cost any HP or SP.
Wow. That's pretty great.
It's pretty nice. I like it. It's in my mind, like, I had just started the game earlier this week, mainly for this podcast. I just thought, I'm really into this Assassin's Creed Origins, but I'll play this because I literally have not played hardly any RPGs this month.
Right.
And then I've just kind of stuck with it through the whole week, like, between, the music and the art style, and, like, I have a lot of heart for this game, and especially this first dungeon, because no boss in any game needs to be put down as much as Kamoshida does.
Right. Especially his, like, demon form with the tongue. Like, it's so gross. It's the worst.
Gosh.
But I'm really curious to hear, all 3 of us on the show sort of had problems with, let's say, 2 or 3 of the dungeons in the game, like the Egyptian
There's one dungeon.
The space one, and especially the ship one. That is the worst.
That one was easily the worst of the whole bunch. I could find pieces of the other ones that I was like, well, I didn't love it, but it wasn't
as rough. And I'm very curious.
The game and now.
I'm surprised that no one has really talked about, in reviews and previews and stuff, haven't really talked about that dungeon specifically. I'm really curious to see, 1, if anything in there has gotten changed, but 2, if any of the improvements, like the grappling hook and the additional stuff they've added, whether or not that makes that dungeon less of a hellish slog.
Like, my biggest complaints were that dungeon right there was so, because of its design and what it was, it made sense that it would have, like, narrow hallways everywhere and a very, like, repetitive sort of looking thing happening constantly. But hear me out. That's horrible to play through.
Yeah, well, and, like, you're playing through it twice, because you're playing through it as Joker and then as a mouse. So, like, you're doing so much of this stuff twice. It's so bad.
I don't want to do that dungeon again. Like, just thinking about it, I was just like, oh.
I forgot about the mouse. Gosh.
Yeah, like
That
the
was
normal
bad.
dungeon by itself would be fine, but like you're flopping back and forth as this mouse, and it's just the worst. I try to be positive about so much stuff, and that dungeon is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it to that dungeon, honestly. But
Yeah.
because again, like this is whatever I'm doing right now is just to tide me over until I have 7
Oh.
releases, and then
Right.
Important question. Difficulty. What are the difficulty settings from the beginning?
Oh yeah.
I need
they
to
give
know.
you, I believe, 4 of them where they have one that basically says you don't want any challenge from combat, and you can't change it if you select it. Then they have easy, normal, and whatever the hard one is.
Okay.
I don't think it starts you out with. Maybe it did have super hard difficulty from the start. It was
The easiest one is usually called safety, right?
yeah, something like that.
What's the highest one called? Risky?
That
It's
sounds
been
right.
risky. I think it's been risky in the Persona Q games, but I don't know if they also kept that into the proper ones.
It's funny because when that screen hit, I thought Mina's gonna play this on hard. I'm gonna play
Mina's
this
gonna
on
ask
easy.
me about this.
And then just immediately forgot all about it.
Yeah.
I'll play it on the hardest difficulty. Don't you worry. I got.
You
I
got
got
that
it, I
base
got
covered,
it.
yeah.
Oh man, it's I'll tell you, like the enemies, I feel like notice me more often in this version too than they did in the original.
They were a little dumb in the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But anywho, did I cover? Yes, I did. Okay, sorry. I also played a tiny bit of Grim Dawn. This is that Diablo-like that's PC only at the
Oh
moment.
yeah.
Kind of takes place in a, I don't know, 1600, 1700-ish era fantastical thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my character's like basically a Diablo necromancer, because in that game you dual class. So I've chosen the whatever their necromancer thing is called, and the occultist, which is like a black mage that gets some summons too. That game is really difficult to figure out where the heck you're supposed to be going if you've stopped playing for months on end.
Right.
Like I got in there and there's like a dozen locations on my map I can warp to. It's like, well, I can go to the furthest one, but I feel like I got past that or something. And I see these quests that are telling me to do a thing, but there's no markers on my map telling me where to go to do the thing.
Right.
And then I went in and playing it's fun. And then I remember the criticism that I keep forgetting to bring up everywhere. And that's for these summoning classes in these Diablo-like games, guys, you have to give us more information on the screen about what we've summoned. Like, I feel like
Right.
I feel like Torchlight, Diablo, and Grim Dawn all suffer from a lack of communication. Like, Grim Dawn will tell me, oh, this is how many skeletons I've summoned. It does not tell me if my weird atrocity thing that I summoned is still alive or not. It does not tell me if the bat I summoned or the wolf I've summoned are still alive. Like, it doesn't give those icons. It just gives them to the skeletons, which is frustrating.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Like, because that's my job, is to resummon them while they kill things.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, show my whole party, man. Yeah.
and it also took me a bit to figure out the controls again, because it has, like I had one toolbar set up for actual combat and the other toolbar set up for summoning. Since it's a bit of a juggler, and like the bosses in that game are actually difficult. Like I think I died twice while playing it last time, which is, I almost never die in Diablo-like games, because they aren't usually all that, like, they aren't usually that hard. I'll just say that. If I die on the internet from it. Anyway, that was just like a day or two session of me enjoying that, though. And lastly, I'll go ahead and talk real briefly. Probably the game that I play most of the time, all the time, is the phone game Marvel Strike Force, which I've abstained from talking about on here, but it's been a few months. And right now, honestly, they're running an event that I like a lot, which is they have like they've been doing these milestone things where you do X, Y, and Z, and it gives you milestone points. It gives you rewards, right? And the rewards have gotten a lot better. And this time is their year celebration, I think, or something, or 2-year active birthday or something. And the rewards are really good. And the way you earn points for this milestone is by opening orbs that also have really good rewards.
Nice.
So you get X amount of points per orbs that you open, and you get points for opening the orbs by doing battles. Which,
okay.
Like, it's a really good feedback system because it takes a bunch of like modes that I'm tired of playing, like Blitz, for instance.
Right.
And gives me incentive to keep doing them because I get these freaking awesome orbs and that have awesome milestone rewards on top of it. So it's
when you get rewarded for just playing the game, as opposed to like, I just have to grind on this one brand new event for 2 weeks. Yawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, they still have all that other stuff. It's still a very time-consuming, grindy game. But it's I really enjoy it, and I like how they've been kind of reinventing some of the classes. Like they finally made Red Skull a playable character that you could recruit.
Yeah, there we go.
And his thing, he does like extreme revives on Hydra minions. So it's just like every turn he's bringing back like 1 to 2 Hydra minions, which is a nightmare to fight, but also means that even him at like a really low point, like makes him fairly deadly if he has decent Hydra party in there.
I see. Right. Interesting.
I mean, it also helps that our alliance is that Moonpier runs Next Wave Agents of Hate, which is a comic book series, right?
Right.
And we even have like a feeder alliance at this point too, called Next Wave Interns of Hate.
I had not heard that. That's really great.
It was, I don't know, it's a good system. Like we've gotten someone from, like our feeder alliance is very like relaxed and low key, and they probably have room if anyone ever wants to try the game and join. But our main alliance is always full, and we're pretty high points. So if you're just starting the game, it'll be a while before you get in there.
Yeah, you gotta stay committed.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's just the one phone game that has somehow managed to stay on my phone all this time that I go in phases. Right now I'm on a good phase where I'm like, oh, I like this game. I'm going to do this game while I do everything throughout my day. And there are other times where I'm like, I just need to quit.
Well, you mentioning this game reminded me that I have picked up a new phone game too. So I now have another game to talk about. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that is like... I spent I spent 2 hours revisiting Epic 7, but like I don't know that that's...
Yeah.
I literally just logged into the game. I'm like, oh, it didn't give me a free character. And then
Yeah, I realized I'm done with that. Pretty much them introducing pets to the game kind of killed my investment in it, and I haven't gone back in a couple months. Yeah, sorry, Epic 7, you had too much of a good thing.
It's such a good looking game, but it's too much. It is asking too much of me, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's seeing the graphics in it makes me want to play it again. But
yeah.
Anyway, that is all I've been playing.
All right, Mina, how about you?
So I have continued playing randomized ROM hack games. I played more of the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. Mm-hmm. I've been trying a bunch of the settings. So I think I said this the first time, but you can make the settings anywhere as easy to as hard as you desire. So I've been making the settings more and more difficult, trying to see what are the limits that I can go through. And like there's some seeds I've generated where it's been too much of a hassle to try and figure out my way through.
Oh, right.
Because you'll have things like there's 2 ways to get underground. In case if you weren't familiar with Final Fantasy IV, there's basically 3 types of overworld. There's the planet Earth, I guess we'll just call it like just the overworld, the surface, and then there's the underground where the dwarves are, and then there's the moon. Mm-hmm. So the way to get to the underground, there's 2 ways. You can either take the hook path or the magma key. The magma key, you just toss the magma key and you're all the way down and you can do whatever you want. The hook path is a little more, you have to go through certain bosses to make it to the underground. So it's not as free and easy. So sometimes I'll generate a seed where you have to do the hook route because the magma key just isn't obtained anywhere on the overworld. And then in those situations, sometimes the bosses that are blocking the underground can be so painful to go through that it's just not because everything's randomized. So like, for example, the one spot, King and Queen Eblin, I'm sure if you've played Final Fantasy IV, you remember Edge's parents who are basically a nothing fight. It's a nothing fight normally. But when the bosses are randomized, suddenly this nothing fight is now super fast, hits super hard.
Oh no.
It is just like incredibly deadly. So if you have certain bosses in that spot becomes just like a nightmare. So then you throw in like the wrench of basically like I made it so that way you couldn't recruit duplicate characters. So if you happen to find the same character multiple times in the randomizer, you couldn't recruit them. So you had to stick with the same characters. So I hit up all the spots. I didn't end up with any new characters. So I'm trying to go through with just Atella, and I think it was, I always get these two mixed up. Porum, the girl twin.
Just I'm trying to go. Them?
Just the two of them, and I come across an enemy that hits for, I think it was like, he was hitting for like 800 damage or something, and Tella is a brittle man. Right. And Porum is a tiny little girl, and neither of them could take that hit. So I ended up being like, this isn't...
Probably not going to work out.
I'm not going to do this scene. Yeah. So like sometimes you come across those. I think for the most part though, like unless you're really putting all the like constraints on a seed like the way I was, you're not going to come across something as awful as that. That's just like a one-off terrible outcome.
Yeah, like your default seed is going to be a lot more balanced and fair. I forgot to tell you that your dive into free enterprise has inspired me to look at other randomizers, and I found two of them that I think I'm going to try out. One I was playing around with today, which was Symphony of the Night. I'm going to try that one out, because I know that game like the back of my hand. And the other one is Final Fantasy V. That has a fairly robust randomizer that has a whole bunch of options. I think I'm gonna probably before the Fiesta this year. I'll probably try some random runs of that, because that seems like it could be pretty fun.
And the communities for these randomizers are ever growing, and the modding community around it are very supportive. So I ended up trying another randomizer with a game that I am not familiar with.
Oh, okay.
And because I've only played it once, so I'm not familiar with the game, if I'm being honest. And that is Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
There are two randomizers out there for Final Fantasy VI, and they are very different from each other.
Okay.
So one of them's like maybe like Beyond Chaos or something Chaos, something.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
So that one's crazy. It is aptly named.
Okay.
Like that makes like both of them have been named perfectly, might I add. So Beyond Chaos is chaotic. It's like they randomize a ton of things about it, from character sprites to like equipment effects, like everything's written. So even a veteran of Final Fantasy VI would have to like basically slowly work their way through a seed like that. So I didn't play that one, but that one exists, and I'm acknowledging it. So the one I actually played was Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide.
Okay, so, I think I've heard of this one too.
So Worlds Collide is basically, it's the closest thing to like the free enterprise, where they give you the airship right away, and when you go and touch the helm of the airship, it says like, do you want to go to the world of Ruin, or do you want to stay in the world of Balance? Which way you want to go?
Cool.
So you can flip back and forth between the two.
Wow.
And So recently they just added a new feature to this randomizer, probably like a week, not even a week ago. And the new patch is called character gating. And what the character gate does is like, so let's say you start out with Celeste. So there are certain checks in the game that are free for everyone to look at, like locations you can go and do the events at, like the story event. But Celeste has her select number of checks that she's allowed to do if you have her in the party. So you have the Opera House. Is you need to have Celeste to open the Opera House quest. You can go to the basement of the South Figaro town thing where you normally would recruit Celeste. That check is opened up to you.
Okay.
And the Magitech facility is for so those are her character gates. So I can't go to the Phantom Train. The Phantom Train event will not be open to me if I only have Celeste.
Okay.
And so what that does is so like you go to those locations and maybe you'll get like Setzer. You'll get Setzer. And if you get Setzer in your party, then you unlock 2 more checks. You can go to Daryl's tomb and somewhere else. And then if you find the other characters, each one will open up more and more locations.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that randomizer works. And you need to have like a total of, I think, 7 characters. And well, okay, so you can set it up anyway, but like the default settings, because I'm only playing default at the moment.
Right.
You need like 7 characters and like I don't remember how many espers to head to Kefka to battle, but you can make it so that way you only need to have like 3 characters or 4 characters or whatever to beat Kefka.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so, and then all of the locations are scaled to your party is the way I have it set. So even though like I'm going to like an end game location or I'm going into like the Opera House with a level 3 Celeste or whatever, everything's scaled to that level 3 Celeste. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so that's how that works. But there's a lot of different ways you can change it. There's you can make it so that way any chest in the game is shuffled to be randomly any item in the game. You can have it set so that way it's only shuffling the location. So like if there was a chest that had like an elixir, that elixir chest will be moved somewhere in the game. Or you can make it so that way it's pure random. Same with the shop inventory. You can make the shop inventory like pure random or shuffled or whatever. It's like there's a lot of nice little features. You can kind of make this game tuned to like the difficulty that you want to do it in. So I'm having fun doing that. I like it. It's the closest one to free enterprise. If you want more of like the follow the story route, like you actually play the game as the game would intend, that Beyond Chaos one is definitely more for that speed where you can make things really crazy. Like you can have like a Yuna sprite walking around and like, yeah.
Right.
It's so yeah, that one's wild.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Sonic the Hedgehog in that randomizer.
Yeah.
So like there's crazy ones. So outside of the randomizers, I played more Rune Factory 4, but I'm not going to drag this podcast down with more of that. Listen to the last episode.
Right.
But I've almost hit the story beat where I go into Act 2 of the game. I'm almost finished with Act 1. There are 3 distinct acts to the game in terms of story. And outside of that, I've only been playing really just non-RPGs, and I have nothing I can say about it.
It's been a real non-RPG month for all 3 of us, I think.
I mean, it's been a little crazy, so I just kind of played whatever was relaxing and tried to get through it because I've been getting over a little bit of a sickness. I don't know if I still sound like it, but it's just been, I just wanted to relax.
Yeah.
But what about you, Boston?
I've been keeping up with Division 2 and Destiny 2. Both have a new season out right now. Destiny 2's 10th season is out right now. It to the community's frustration, it is largely the same as the last couple of seasons. I do not mind. I have a lot of fun playing Destiny 2. And we have weekly Dadstiny, where the Hannah and Bill Spurt and I play Destiny 2 on every Thursday night. So at the very least, I play it once a week, and we play for 2 or 3 hours, and we bang out some stuff, and we shoot the poops and have fun. The other side of the spectrum, Division 2's first season just launched. So they're going... There's not a lot to talk about here because they're basically following the same formula that all of these season passes / battle passes have. There's a free track, there's a premium track, there's 100 ranks. You know, you level up and you get a bunch of unlocks as you go through the ranks. If you bought the new expansion Warlords of New York, you get the first season for free. So if anyone has done that and you haven't redeemed the season yet, it is retroactive. Go in there and start the season. Destiny 2's season rewards are largely not super fantastic. Division 2's season rewards so far seem pretty good. They're giving you rare items and armor. They're giving you a bunch of equipment keys, and it seems like they're giving you a whole bunch of really great stuff. So 2 thumbs up for them. Both of those games are largely the same as they've ever been, but that's okay by me because I have a lot of fun playing both of those. Mina was just mentioning that you've been playing a lot of really relaxing stuff. I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. TVGP's Game Club last month was Stardew Valley, and that has really caused a problem with me because Stardew Valley is very relaxing, and that's pretty much what I need right now. So I've been playing a lot of that. But the last game I've been playing, I just started checking this out, and Musum mentioning Strike Force reminded me. I started War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Oh, yeah.
This came out a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I liked Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. We talked about it on the show for a good long time here, and I think all of us kind of fell off of it at the same time. Not that it's bad. I would still recommend it. But the selling point for War of the Visions was, what if we just make Final Fantasy Tactics? And they did. Like, pretty much just kind of photocopied Final Fantasy Tactics and set it a couple hundred years before Brave Exvius and put that bad boy out. It has the same classes as Tactics. It has the same battle grid. It has the same charging of skills, the same everything. It is 100% Final Fantasy Tactics. And I don't think I'm going to keep playing it because of the currency. So,
yo, I'm glad you brought that up because I am a big proponent of anytime a mobile game really wants you to pay money.
Yeah.
They can
no good.
take that and go. Okay.
Yeah, kick rocks. Yeah.
You should like in my own humble opinion, I believe that if you put money into a game, it should be because you actually want to.
Right.
Not because the game says pay me money now to have fun. Right. That is unacceptable to me. That game wants you to pay money.
The frustration that I ran into was I was enjoying it. I was going through the tutorials. I was, it's the launch event, and there's been 1 million downloads already. So they've been pumping you full of currency and units and pulls and stuff like that. So I've been having a lot of fun, setting up a number one. The menu is a mess. There's 15 icons as soon as you start the game, and it is genuinely very confusing. The part that really bothered me, however, is the 1 million downloads thing happened, and they're like, hey, we have a new banner to pull on, and if you pull it's only a 10 pull, If you pull it, you're guaranteed to get a ultra rare unit. So like most of these games, there's like common, uncommon, rare, whatever, and like the highest is SR, like super rare or super rare. This one has mega rare, and then above that ultra rare. So that to start off with was already fairly concerning. It's like we don't need more. We don't need MRs or URs. Like that. We've had enough ranks already. I went to go do the 10 pull on the new banner because it said, hey, it's 1,000 or 2,000. You call them like Visior or something. It's a premium currency. I couldn't, and I had like 5,500 because they're just giving them like candy during the event. I couldn't pull on that banner.
Because it was paid only, wasn't it?
Because I needed the premium currency, not the free currency.
Yes!
Get off of my phone!
So, here's the thing. This game is a carbon copy of a different game called Alchemist Code. And it has the same thing.
That
and I've
sucks.
known about it.
Yeah.
I've known about this for the whole time. And I was going to let you talk, but I knew as soon as you were like, as soon as you started talking about the guaranteed 10 pull, I'm like, I bet it was paid currency because that's what they do on that game. It's different, but it's the same. Like, it looks the same too. And it pulls from the same resource. If you pulled like on a regular free banner or whatever, it will pull from those paid currencies.
Oh, interesting. That sucks.
That upsets me genuinely. All right.
So I don't think I'll continue playing it because like I went and I said, oh, just for grins, like maybe there will be like a really generous 2,500 premium currency like introductory pack, like a lot of games do. I wouldn't call like $35 for 2,000 generous. So
no, it's never been generous because that's the same thing they pulled on that other game.
Yeah, and I think this is really a bummer because I feel like Brave Exvius was never unfair about currencies. Like you can really slowly get the currencies. They had like monthly bundles and stuff. It never pulled this like pull the rug out under you where it's like, haha, you have 5,000 of these free ones like the plebes have. Like
so that irritates me when games do that. When it's like this is the premium currency, but there's also another layer of this is the paid premium currency.
This is the good currency.
I don't want to hear that from a game. Okay, understand me? Like that upsets me so much. I get I'm like shaking from how angry I am about that because it's ridiculous. It's bad enough you have premium currency. Don't make it paid premium. Right. And I've known several games to do this, and they immediately get out.
Yeah, so I'm probably I was chewing over it all day, and I'm probably just gonna uninstall it tonight because like my recommendation is if you want to play Final Fantasy Tactics on your phone. They have War of the Lions out, the original PlayStation 1 game. It goes on sale every once in a while, but it's like $15 normally, which I know a lot of people say, oh, it's so expensive. It's an incredible like 200-hour game, so just go play that, and it doesn't have microtransactions in it. Which I'm normally not the guy where it's like, oh, phone games, oh, free to play, oh, like that's normally not me, but like this gross like dirty and good premium currency is not gonna work.
That's my limit as well. Like it's I just can't stand that. Like if you're going to sell the premium currency, that's fine. Yeah. But this whole there has to be a separation of your this is what the free to play players got, but this is the paid ones.
Yeah.
That's get out.
Yeah, it really sucks. Yeah. So I was hoping to come on the show and say, like, hey, this is another good Brave Exvius, and hey, they changed the battle system, and the how you play the game is really great. The rest of it makes me not recommend it. So I don't think you should play War of the Visions.
I think there's also... I didn't research this in because I was just I was already immediately out because I knew what was going down, like, long before that. But they also talked... Like, someone was telling me about how you can only upgrade 2 units or something. If you don't pay money for whatever...
I don't know if I've run into that side of it.
Oh, God.
That's just a mess. And it's like Square Enix is one of the companies that I expect better of in the mobile space, because they have shown through a number of their other games that they can put out a game that doesn't feel scummy like this, and I think that's a real disappointment.
I don't know. Like this looks like a carbon copy of Alchemist Code, because someone also told me that there are so many systems. Like someone was just complaining about that, and I was like, sounds like Alchemist Code. Like show me what systems you're talking about. And they started showing me all these things, and they were like, you have to there's all these things that you have to upgrade and this and that, and they're just like, there's so many things, and I'm like, they literally copied Alchemist Code and pasted it with Final Fantasy graphics over it.
Such a bummer.
So
man, yeah. But that bummer is the last game I played this month, so I sort of organized that the wrong way, I guess. So let's move into something a little more positive. The RPG releases for April 2020. Starting off with the showstopper, Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out on the PS4 on the 10th. If you're listening to this when it comes out, you can preload that on PS4 right now if you bought it digitally. It is 100 gigs, which I talked about before the show. I forgot it's a 2-disc game, so it is real big. So preload that now so you can download the day one patch that I'm sure is coming. That will also probably be very big. So
I gotta go delete some stuff. There's no way I have 100 gigs free on my PS4.
No, I have like 2 or 3 live service games on my PS4, so like my hard drive's full. Like, it's a big one. Trials of Mana comes out PC, Switch, PS4 on the 24th. So this is confusing. This isn't the game they already put out in the Mana collection. That was the Super NES version. This is the 3D HD remake they've made of that game. So that's what's coming out here. It looks pretty good. They seem to have gotten a pretty cool 3D style for that original game, and I'm hoping this turns out pretty well, because I've never played any of the Mana games, but I could definitely dive into Trials. This one looks pretty cool. Next up, Gears Tactics comes out on PC and Xbox One on the 28th. As far as I can tell, this is it very much is XCOM, but I think it does seem like there is some leveling up and some unit management and stuff. This is in the Gears of War franchise, so if that is a thing that does not interest you, Gears Tactics probably will not, but it does land day and date on Xbox Game Pass on PC and Xbox One on the 20th. So if you have those, you'll get it for quote-unquote free, because people get upset when I say you get it for free. Like, I don't understand how that works. And lastly, Sakura Wars comes out on the PS4 on the 28th. This is sort of Sega's very long-running Sakura Wars series. This is the brand new version of that. If you've never seen this before, it's like a high school management / Wanzer management game. It's very much like, let's go to high school during the day. At the other part of the day, we're fighting in giant mechs, and we're schoolgirls. So
talk to me more about this game.
Yeah, a game that seems up your alley. I know that they've changed this game a little bit from previous games in the series, so I think it's a little bit less SRPG when you get into the mech battle stuff, because the other games were very much like, hey, here's front mission. Go play front mission. This one seems to be a little bit more action oriented, so I have not fully understood the differences as someone who hasn't played any of the previous ones, even though I've been very excited about them. So if you're a fan of the previous ones, or you've been interested in the previous ones, just kind of keep that in mind, that this one's a little bit different in a way that I wish I understood so I could sell it. Mostly so I could sell Musum on it, because I have a captive audience. But that comes out on the 28th. That looks pretty cool. And I like supporting Sega. We only have one news story this month, and it's a big one that I've sort of been hoping for a while, although it comes in a weird way. The Nier remaster was announced, and they're remastering Nier Replicant, which is not the way I thought they were going to go. I thought they were going to either remaster both of them or give you kind of a switch between Replicant and Gestalt. But they're remastering it with the very succinct title, Nier Replicant version 1.224744871139. So just put that in Amazon, and that'll send you right there to the purchase page. That's coming out. Yeah, that was really strange. What's so hard to remember? That's coming out PC, PS4, and Xbox One fall of this year, I believe. But yeah, they're remastering that first one, and that is a game that I played and super bounced off of when it was on the 360 and PS3. So I'm hoping that my love of Nier Automata will help me kind of pull myself into this one. Although I'm bummed they're not remastering Gestalt, because that would be my preference. If anyone doesn't know, the main character is different between the two. Gestalt, you're playing as Yorha's father and trying to find a cure. Replicant, you're playing as Yorha's brother and trying to find a cure. Largely the same story, but just different protagonists.
Do they take place at like the same time period, or
Yep.
like one? Okay,
It's the exact same story. It's just like you're swapping brother for father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but someone told me on Twitter that apparently Yoko Taro didn't really like Gestalt, and was sort of that it was when it came out. It was very clearly like, hey, Americans are not going to like this super Japanese Bishonen main character that you put in Replicant, so you got to make a more Western-friendly game, and apparently was not a fan of that, understandably.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think it's a good opportunity for him and his team to kind of put out the game they wanted to worldwide. So
Excited to get it. And I might have also just pre-ordered Sakura Wars, by the
There you
way,
go.
just because the games I was going to buy in May got moved out of May. So
That's right.
Look what you guys have done. We've already
Yeah.
made 2 purchases today.
there you go.
we'll see if I cancel it or not.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's not set in stone. Yeah. All right, well, that's our episode for this month. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, pickingupthepixels.com is where to find us. Everywhere to find and follow us is the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. All the cool behind-the-scenes early access stuff. We're about to unleash a new early access patron show over there. So the $5 a month tier is the one that gets you everything, and that's just $5 a month. I appreciate anyone that is a patron. I really appreciate it, and you help fund the show, because, boy, it is not cheap. Musim, where can we find you out on the internet?
You can find the nexus of my musical hub at jbaudio.net. We also have I guess it's not a pre-order. We have like a Steam page for the video game I've done Sound of Music on that's coming out. It is called Solos. It is by the company 66 Games, which I'm a part of.
Yep.
We will be releasing it on Steam at some point over the next month.
Soonish.
Yes, soonish is the good word.
Impending.
Like, it may be next week. I don't honestly know.
Yeah.
But it is happening soon. We're targeting other platforms, one in particular, but that is it's just taken forever, so I think we're just going to release it on Steam first. But
yeah, if you can, for anyone that doesn't know how Steam works, if you can go find Solos, or if you're listening to this recently, you can go find a link in both the promotions channel on the TVGP Discord and Musim's Twitter account. Wishlisting games on Steam helps an incredible amount for discovery. So I hate to put it this way, but even if you're not going to go buy it, you should.
yeah,
Please put it on your wish list, because it helps indie studios like the one that Musim is a part of get more discovery on their title. And after watching the trailer, this game looks dope, so you should definitely go check it out and put it on your wish list. It's called Solos.
it is play tested really well with little kids too.
Nice.
So those are the ones that, like, because we've done a lot of booths with this game. and those are the ones who wind up playing it the longest, or like elementary school kids. So
cool.
Just FYI, if you're a parent, might be a good idea there.
Yeah, go check out Solos on Steam. Mina, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch or YouTube under Mina KO Rocket in Boston.
E1M1.com is where you can find everything. And I think that's it. So our adventure continues next month.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And hello, Winemaker Joe. I'm sorry I missed you. Man. Sorry about that. Hi. Thanks everyone for watching us live. Thanks for everyone for watching the video. We'll see you next month. Bye.